Terrific Tuesday. How are we doing, everybody? We're back with your man, Sammy the Man McIntyre with Moving the Chains podcast. Hope we're rocking and rolling. I'm recording this late Tuesday night on a terrific Tuesday. I got my jumpsuit ready. I'm going to be rocking the soprano look with my gabagool. Where you at, huh? Where's my meatballs? I'm trying to be Italian here, but failing pretty good. So last night, I watched that debacle last night, which was Commanders 7. Chiefs 28. That was one of the biggest against the spread picks this week. I'm feeling so nicey right now with this jumpsuit. Woo! I'm feeling great right now. Got me feeling nicey. Let's go. So I want to get back to the game. So Commanders Chiefs last night. Against the spread was 11.5 game. If Jaden Daniels was playing, I probably would be somewhere below that. But since he was hurt last night, they were kind of doomed. Washington from the jump. And listen, they played a tough game. Their defense got 2 interceptions last night, but their offense just was sputtering. And you can kind of tell Mariota's a good backup. You know, he's been in the league a long time. I'm rooting for him. It's Oregon Day. Liked him, but I didn't love him. Still think he didn't deserve that Heisman that year that he won it. But be that as it may, it's a quarterback award. I get it. But I'm watching last night with Washington, and they are just missing Jaden Daniels hard. I mean, I'm not saying this offense, had Terry McLaurin out, you had Jaden Daniels out right now, the offensive line, still a little hit and miss. I know Tunsil went out last night, so that really hurt them. So that just really didn't help. And it's not going to get easy. I mean, I'm looking at the Commander schedule, and Kevin Craner and I were talking about this, his biggest Redskins fan I know. It's going to be ugly. And you got the Lions coming up, Seattle's coming to your place next weekend. It's going to be tough, man. And I'm not saying your season's over, but it's a little concerning. And it's concerning that Jaden Daniels, again, is nicked up again. And this is my problem with these guys in college that are very skinny like that. Bryce Young, and I'll get to that game in a second. And Buffalo hammered them. But I want to get to the big picture takeaway from that game. Because I didn't touch on it the other day. But I'm watching the Redskin offense last night. And I'm at my brother's birthday was yesterday. Shout out to my brother Jackson. He got turned 27. He's getting old on me, brother. But it was nice to see that game and be around his friends yesterday. But I'm watching that game last night, and I had this takeaway today at work, and I'm, at the gym tonight. And my takeaway is Washington's got some problems. And I'm not meaning the coach, and I don't mean Cliff Kingsbury. I think he's fine. Cliff, obviously, he's not my kind of style. He's more air raid, soft. Play a great defensive front, get manhandled, physical, right? He's kind of pretty. Mike Leach was like this. Lincoln Riley, to me, is like that, but I'm watching Lincoln Riley run the football with effect. Did Oklahoma, trying to do at USC, but it's not really clicking the way I thought it would. But last night, to me, with Kingsbury, and I thought Mariota, listen, he struggled last night, and not all of it his fault. But I'm watching last night. There's sort of a rhythm when I watch Daniels that just he brings to the table. I don't feel that with the Commanders when he's not in there. And I've got to start having some question marks. If I'm the Commanders organization saying, do we need to look at a quarterback? I'm not saying Jaden Daniels is a bum. He's not. He was rookie of the year last year. Came out the gates gangbusters. And they went to the NFC Championship game. But they kind of remind me of Houston. And, they came under the radar. They were a surprise team. Good feel-good story. Dan Quinn got revigorated, kind of like D'Amico Ryans. That I all understand. And they have a really good team. I'm not sitting here saying the Commanders are bad. The Redskins, they're not bums. They're a good team. And I like Dan Quinn. I like their defense personnel to a degree. But I'm watching last night. It's an old team, man. It feels like Moneyball. I was thinking about that tonight, my comparison to them. Feels like the movie Moneyball. Love the movie, great movie. But it feels like Moneyball their team-wise. A lot of old guys with a lot of tread on those tires. Not a lot of youth. And when you got an older team, you're going to get hurt more. Now, if you got a young team, hit and miss on the injury front. Unless you're the 49ers. I saw that stat today. It was 2,036 games missed. I mean, something's wrong in that front office out there in Santa Clara. I don't know if it's San Francisco, home. I don't know what it is, but it's bad. So they're not on that level getting there of the hurt factor, but it's an older team. And you know that going in. So I do think they're going to be okay. A little concerning right now. Hard. You got a gauntlet coming up in the schedule. You got your easy ones out the way, the Raiders and all that. And you beat the Chargers, who were kind of banged up, but I'll give you credit on that win. But right now, pray to God Jayden Daniels comes back, because that offense needs him more than the Redskins' offense needs Jayden Daniels. He stirs the shake and makes it work. So that was kind of alarming last night. Their defense kept them in the game. They just couldn't score last night. So I do think Commanders are going to be okay. But I worry, though, man. Like, Jayden Daniels better get healthy soon, and he better put some weight on. I mean, this is going to be a recurring problem because he's just and he's a great kid. I understand that. But he's a hell of a player. I'm not disputing he's not. But he's got to play at an exceptional level. And I mean exceptional level. For them to have any chance. Because if you don't have Jayden Daniels for an extended period of time, you can kiss playoffs goodbye. Now, if you get him back and you kind of get this train rolling on the tracks again, every NFL season's ebbs and flows. Chargers 3-0, they suck again. They're this. Okay, every team is like this in the NFL. Redskins kind of similarly. I was talking to my buddy Kevin about this. Up, down, up, so you kind of get that with the Redskins. But they're going to be okay. The NFC East is kind of shaky right now. It's Philadelphia, Washington, Dallas, and then Giants. Ugh. So they're going to be okay. So speaking of the Chiefs last night, how about those Chiefs? Andy Reid's chant. I was not rooting for the Chiefs last night. I'm a Raider fan, as you guys know. But I say this all the time. There's two venues in my lifetime that I've been to that feel big. I feel like Detroit now with Ford Field, the Chiefs with Arrowhead, and the old Coliseum with the Raiders. It felt big. And I'm watching last night, and it just felt big last night on TV. And then when they're showing the end zone, and I'm going back through my archive pictures, crazy thing, that was 3 years ago. Times change. And I'm watching last night, and the Chiefs just continue to kick ass. And I kept saying the two words, "We're back," because they are. Hey, AFC, you had your chance in a window. Yeah, to beat their ass. Kind of shut the door on Kansas City. Kept hearing all the time, "Oh, Buffalo, they're a dynasty. Woo!" Okay. Baltimore, yeah. NFC Championship game they had at home 2 years ago. Shit the bed in that one. Yeah. Throwing the ball 40 times, not your formula for Baltimore. Hey, Sean McDermott, defensively, stop giving up 34 points, blaming it on Josh Allen. Okay? So, again, these AFC teams, and I get Raider fans are sick of the Chiefs winning it, and they want Denver or somebody else to win it. And I get it. I don't see it on my watch. As long as you got Mahomes, Reed, in this team, game over. And listen, I'm for the Colts getting in. I'm for the Texans. I'm for all these other teams. But right now, if I had to put, I'm taking my money on the Chiefs still. I'm sorry, they're the most consistent, well-rounded. And listen, they're only getting better. That's the other thing. We go, last 3 weeks, they've been beating 89-24, all these opponents. You think right now, watch out. They're going to keep getting better. They ain't even started yet. Now, I still have concerns about their offensive line. I saw Washington's front was really getting after them last night. That still concerns me with Kansas City. That Moore kid they got from San Francisco, he got manhandled last night. And Washington's got some good front. Not like when they had Jerome Payne and Jonathan Allen. But they got some guys that can get after. That kind of concerned me last night. But I will say this. Kansas City ain't going nowhere. They're probably going to win this West again. I hope it's Chargers. Maybe it's Denver. I don't know. Sure as hell ain't my Raiders. Sure as hell ain't my Raiders. But I will say this right now. As long as you got 15, and as long as you got Andy Reid, chubby version of Bill Walsh, you're marking them down for AFC Championship game. And maybe they won't this year. I've said this before. Even when Saban was going, there were years where they did not win a championship. Okay? It's like Kirby Smart. He got there last year in the playoff in a Sugar Bowl. Some years happen like that. Okay? So, sorry, I'm getting a little hot here. But I do think Kansas City they're just dominant. And they're getting Rashee Rice back. They're getting Worthy back. You're seeing the impact that it has on the pass game. It's just incredible. And I just watched last night. And listen, the run game still needs to get some juice. They got going last night against Washington, who's kind of run defense didn't miss. But I felt like last night for me, I had a couple words. 2 words. We're back. Kansas City's back. Yeah, they ain't going nowhere. That defense flying around with Tranquil, 260, baby. They have Leo Chanel's making plays. Chris Jones is still balling. Travis Kelce's still making plays with his old ass. They got dudes. And as long as you got your core guys, and Mahomes in that saddle, I what more do you want? He's arguably the best quarterback talent that I've ever seen outside Josh Allen. Those 2 guys in the league. Throw Herbert in there, maybe Lamar, Burrow when he's healthy. Fingers crossed. So that was my takeaway from that game last night. Washington's got a long way to go. Got a gauntlet right now. Probably going to be okay. They're probably going to finish second in the division. In Kansas City, I mean, until Denver does something, I don't. Who's beating them in the AFC? Colts? I'm rooting, but an Arrowhead, Daniel Jones. I don't know. I saw him win a playoff game in Minnesota. That's a different animal, different beast. So we will see on that. So there was a game I wanted to touch on because it kind of brought some thoughts to my head today. Bills absolutely stomping the Panthers. The Panthers. And I'm looking at my score. I predicted it. I think it was 27-24 Panthers. They would win. And I'm watching that on Sunday. And I was kind of out and about. But I picked Buffalo 7.5 to cover. It was one of the biggest against my spread picks. And I'm watching that Sunday. And I'm looking at Sean McDermott. And I'm talking to you, buddy. Keep that formula. Run the ball. When I heard this stat, when James Cook's got 100 yards, they win every game. And if you do that, because it's going to come down to you in Kansas City again. Maybe Denver, maybe Indy, throw them in the mix. But it's going to come down to you two again. And you got to deliver. And I've been saying this for a couple of years now with Sean McDermott. I respect him. I like him as a coach. I think he's done a nice job rebuilding that program in Buffalo. Kind of feels like the 90s Bills again. But are we going through the same thing again? Heartbreak? Over and over and over again? I still think it's embarrassing. You've had Josh freaking Allen, who's Brett Favre with no mobility, in his prime, and you have not even gone to a Super Bowl yet. You've been to 2 AFC Championship games. Now, granted, you play the Chiefs. I got it. But Peyton Manning struggled with the Chiefs for years. And Peyton Manning finally broke through that damn door and broke it down. And got to a Super Bowl. So it is possible, Buffalo. You got to put your mind to it. And I also think Buffalo has this thing in their head, and maybe the Chiefs are in their head, where they think they're going to win. There's a difference. Chiefs know they're going to win and kick their ass. Buffalo doesn't. And I felt that way, the parallels I have with the 90s Bills. And I watched that Cowboy doc. Was Dallas win that game? And that's first Super Bowl, not the second one. First Super Bowl against the Bills. And they went, we're going to kick their ass. They knew they were. And Buffalo thought they were. Not the same, bro. So that showed me last night, or Sunday, Buffalo might be redoing this 90s thing again with the Bills. Now, difference for them, they went to 4 Super Bowls. And they lost them 4. And I'm pulling they win a Super Bowl because I love Josh Allen. He's one of my favorite players to watch in the league. And I love watching him. But I'm starting to wonder with McDermott, can you get over this hump? Because I'll tell you this right now, New England's not going away anytime soon. You had your window, Buffalo. And you took advantage of it like Brady did during his 20 years in New England. You beat the shit out of the crappy teams in your division. Dolphins, Jets, and then the Bills for Brady. And Allen's doing that with Miami being bad, the Jets, and the Patriots for a couple years. Well, I'm watching now. They got a quarterback, Drake May. You might have heard of him. That's your equal. So you better get your crap together, Buffalo. Put your big boy pants on. Because the time of you kicking everybody in that division's ass is kind of coming to a close. And then on the Panthers side of it, there needs to be a Bryce Young appreciation because he didn't play Sunday. Yeah, it was embarrassing. I know Andy Dalton last year beat the Raiders. Okay. Raiders kind of were cocky after they beat Baltimore. Okay. He's 5-0 in career against the Raiders. Should have known that. And listen, Ted McMillan made some plays, and Carolina's not as bad as I thought. I picked them third in the division this year. Actually, I picked them second. And it's looking like that right now. I mean, they could come down to that. I think it's a 3-team race right now. Bucks, Panthers, Falcons, excuse me. Falcons are a hit miss. Better at home, but that showing last week against Miami was, whew, Jesus. So, I do think moving forward with Carolina, I thought about this today. They're not a bad organization. Now, they've gotten a lot of flack. I think the owner gets the brunt of it. David Tepper, temper tantrums, because he's an idiot. But I look at Dave Canales, and I look at Bryce Young, and it's credible there. Like, their defense got some players. The end of the game, whatever. The fight happened. Okay. But I think Carolina's in a good spot. Now, I will argue. I will say this, and I said this over the summer. Thought about this today. Carolina's in a weird spot like Minnesota is. Because Carolina and Minnesota, now Minnesota's different because they drafted JJ. Dave Canales did not inherit Bryce Young. Now, I think he's done enough what he can out of Bryce Young, but there's limitations. And I think Bryce Young's top 20 in this league. And I like their philosophy. Unlike Miami, drafting small receivers to help their smallish-ish quarterback, not to a 6 foot, whatever. But I'm watching the Panthers. They get that Ted McMillan kid to give him a big, big target. And I knew they would get him because he was in Seattle with DK and he was in Tampa with Mike Evans. Made sense. Now, I'm not the biggest Ted McMillan guy. Neither was McShay, neither was a bunch of other guys that I know. I just wasn't because I didn't see it inconsistently. Kind of had too much of it. There was an off and on switch. It was more off than on. But I will say, they have some run game. I like their offensive line's okay. And, they have tight ends I like, Mitchell Evans and Tyler Tremble, Notre Dame guys. So they have pieces in Carolina I like. You just got to mold it together and hopefully finish strong in the season. So that's all I'm going to talk about tonight. It was a good pod tonight. Hope you guys are doing well. Terrific Tuesday. I'm going to touch on a couple games tomorrow. Raiders didn't play this week, so I got a little bit of break. Didn't panic. So, hope you guys are doing well. Stay tuned. Got more content. Adios. Godspeed.